Lana, really appreciate you joining us today. Lana's this incredible digital marketer that I actually met through one of our customers at Duet. And she helped him grow tremendously, sort of helped him build out his website, build out his SEO, run Google ads, scaled up. Lana, what is it? He grew his revenue 350%.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Paul, the reason I got introduced to Lana was Paul would not shut up about sort of what a great digital marketer she was, and we were like, man, we've got to have you on our Duet, webinar series and chat a little bit about how other people can replicate that, how other people can, go from getting very few private pay rides to being sort of at the top of the Google results and having like revenue just sort of coming in automatically without having to go and bang on the door and get facility contracts and everything.
Yeah.
Great. So, all that said, let's start off chatting a little bit about just sort of website design. Because I think, a couple topics I want to hit is sort of website, SEO, Google Ads, and there's a few others. So let's start with websites. Obviously, I've seen a lot of bad NEMT websites. I'm curious sort of what you think the overall, and some services don't even have a website, right? Like, with a surprising number of vehicles. They're just on Yelp or Google or something. So could you tell us all a little bit about sort of what the point of having a website is, what a good website does for you in the NEMT space?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with the fact that your website, especially this day and age, is going to be your number one salesperson, right? So 98%, this is statistic, 98% of people before buying a product or a service will Google you and they will check out your presence. So it's important that you have a presence that it's your website needs to be structured in a way where you have control of the user's journey, right? So ultimately you want to focus on how are you going to convert that traffic into leads, right? You want to make sure your website is trustworthy, that it's modern, and that it's professional, and ultimately leaves like a safe and reliable feeling for the traffic for your potential customers.
That makes sense.
And this is huge, right? Trust and safety and being reliable is really, really big in the NEMT space.
For sure. Do you feel like, how do you, I want to convey trust and reliability and safety if I, running an NEMT website.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Like, is it a factor of color scheme? Is it a factor of like smiling pictures of people, of vehicles?
Yeah,
Like,
that's such a great question. I can't say color is gonna mean too much, especially if somebody already kind of has like a logo design, right? So your website, you need to have it has to be cohesive. You have to have consistency in your brand, right? So your website needs to kind of have that same color scheme and everything. But really, ultimately, you need to have. My biggest thing is not having stock images. Have real photos of your vehicles, have like an about section that has your staff, like who you are, what your mission is. And then one thing that I do recommend, and we did this with Paul, is we helped him build reviews on his GMB page, his Google My Business page, and then we integrate that into the website, right? So if somebody is going to come to your website, they're going to see who you are, they're going to see your images, and then they're going to have a testimonial section on there, and then they can read reviews.
okay.
Very, very simple changes can make such a big difference.
That's so cool. Actually, I'm thinking maybe I should do that on the Duet website. Could be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess I should maybe introduce myself a little bit here. I'm James, the co-founder of Duet. We do dispatching software for NEMT services. And Lana, do you want to introduce yourself and your company a little bit? We kind of jumped right into it.
Right. No. So my name's Lana, and I've been doing digital marketing for about 18 years. What I found when it comes to digital marketing, it's not so much about the industry. It's about understanding the behavior of your buying audience. I love what I do. I love working with entrepreneurs So digital marketing, it's such a broad terminology, but you have everything from like website design to social media to SEO to Google Ads, right? So many different platforms.
Hmm.
Really, the core is finding out where your audience are and then creating a communication message and then having these platforms as a driver to push those messages.
Hmm. Great. And I'm actually going to drop your little case study in the chat if that's okay, just so
Yeah, absolutely.
people can look in and take a look at sort of what
Yeah,
you can do for them.
yeah. This
Obviously, we mentioned you grew Paul's revenue 350%, but there's a little more content on that page.
Yeah, and I started working with Paul kind of like at the ground level, which I
Hmm.
loved, right? Because it was like a clean slate. Um, your website, it's your foundation,
Hmm.
right? So it's hard for me, but I won't work with a customer unless their foundation is set up and concrete and designed to convert. So one thing I know how to do very well is I know how to push traffic,
Hmm.
but the website needs to be converting those leads.
Yeah. Do you often feel like you come in, you look at a website, and you sort of just say, "Hey, let's start from scratch and kind of rebuild"? Is
I
that the
usually
way to
know
do
right.
it?
Yeah, I usually know right away whether a
Hmm.
website is designed to convert. Maybe there's all we need is a little bit of tweaks or changes or kind of things that I discussed earlier, like okay, let's add testimonial or
Hmm.
like let's replace this image with an actual image from your company. Or let's create a video, right, of your vehicle or the
Hmm.
process of what it looks like for you to get a customer into the vehicle. Let's load that up. People want to see that. People don't want
Hmm.
to see stock images.
Yeah, yeah. What's your take on AI images? I've seen a couple of those start to pop up
Oh my
in
gosh.
websites.
It depends. Some of them are so good, right? If you can, for example, if you can upload an image of your vehicle with your logo and you can get an AI to produce an image that looks almost like real, then you
Hmm.
upload it. But I have yet to seen that. So
Hmm.
far, all my NEMT companies, I just recommend using your iPhone and taking a couple of photos. That's really all you need.
Uh-huh. Got it. That's easy enough. Anyone can do that.
Right, 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 right.
Um, oh, so Trisha had a question in the chat here.
Oh, where is it?
What are your big takeaways for or advice for writing text that converts on a
Writing
website?
AI. Oh my gosh. Well, I
It
love
doesn't have to be AI. It can be,
like
handwritten.
chat GPT, right? Is that what you're talking about? Like
I
using
think I think not AI, but just asking like, how do you write copy on a website that like will convince people to buy
oh my
your,
gosh. Okay.
take a ride with you?
Sure, sure, sure. The messaging. We're talking about
Uh-huh.
messaging right now. So let's first address that for Google and Google's analytics, content is key. Content is like food. You're giving food to Google, right? The better the content, the more likely they're going to grow your website, right? So the idea is for you to write something that's very highly optimized with specific keywords and key phrases that your audience is searching for. And in order to do that, you have to do the research on the back end to find out what people are actually searching for. We've spent a while understanding the behavior of an EMT audience, right? And people are searching for your services. A lot of them are.
Hmm.
I definitely see the competition in there growing.
Okay, so you're saying the answer is more about understanding the search terms and then just sort of like using those terms and writing good
Correct.
content about those terms.
Correct. So if you go into the link, the case study link,
Hmm.
and you go into Paul's website and you take a look at like the service pages he has, every single service pages has its individual landing page, right? You don't want to. The one thing that I see people do on their websites is like stuff as much keywords and
Hmm.
content as possible. That's not you. You want it to be clean, and when a user comes to your website, you want to be able to, like I said, navigate them, make it very simple. The one thing that I would really focus on is make sure your CTA, which is call to action, make sure it stands out, like your phone number, right, your contact information. The text needs to be just clear. If you want to grow with SEO, that's like two separate things.
Hmm.
That's on-site SEO. A lot of things fall into it. There's no straightforward answer, unfortunately. There's a couple of different things that kind of fall into it.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Certainly, the call to action is important.
But the
It,
text alone is not going to convert, basically.
right,
Yeah.
right. You got to have like a nice, big, colorful button or
Yeah.
something. Call now, book now. A lot of Duet customer. I mean, I think it's really important to have both for NEMT. Like, you should have a phone number because some people really want that, and then you should have like a digital, digital booking thing. Click here, enter some information, request a ride. One of the things we actually built into Duet very early on was a little like, for like digital form. You can put a link and have your website connect to that link, and then it's very easy. You type that information, and then the information will come right into the Duet software. And like, okay, James O'Donnell wants to book a private pay ride with you on Thursday 2 p.m. Do you accept or not?
Exactly. I think the easier it is for the customer, the more likely they're going to convert. People's attention span is
Mhm.
very low.
Yeah, yeah, that's certainly true. Um, okay, so one more question about websites here. What is
Yeah.
like the biggest mistake you see people making with NEMT websites?
One, when it's an outdated website,
Mhm.
right? If it looks cheap, if it looks unprofessional, overstuffing, and I mentioned this earlier, overstuffing keywords and text, it's not going to work. The algorithm in Google is way too advanced. It's not going to get picked up in SEO. Just not taking care of your website, not having it updated, not having any fresh kind of content. Integration, and then again, the biggest thing is your CTAs not having a phone number or a way for them to contact you as like the primary in the header.
Uh-huh.
That's a must, must, must. You want your website to have credibility. Focus on that and focus on trust.
Mhm.
So I think, but trust is going to come from not just the website; it's also going to come from your GMB and your reviews. So if you have those reviews,
Mhm.
sync them, integrate it with the website.
That's a great point. And actually, one more question. Do
Yeah.
you recommend sort of putting all your stuff on one big page and you scroll down, or do you recommend having a separate section for each little aspect of the NEMT service?
That's a really good question. If your goal is to grow online and organically and getting picked up by those keywords and key phrases that your audience is searching for, you're going to want to do an individual landing
Mhm.
pages,
Got it.
right? So Google has like, we'll call them these Google crawlers. They're like these robots that scan your page.
Mhm.
And so, like for example, if you have specific keywords, specific services that you want to target, right? So people who are looking for like wheelchair transportation,
Mhm.
or somebody who's searching for like oncology appointments, rides. Like you want to have
Mhm.
individual landing pages for those. Otherwise, if you have one long page, you're constantly competing and fighting for multiple keywords. You're basically competing against yourself at that point.
Yeah, okay, so if I want to be the top Google search result for dialysis transport San Francisco, I
Yes.
probably need a little page dedicated to
Have your
dialysis.
own landing pages, and what you want to do is you'll have your own service page for dialysis transportation.
Mm,
If you're not running Google ads, which we'll discuss later, and you
mhm,
just want to do SEO, and full transparency, good quality SEO will take about 6 months to a year to see results.
mm,
Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. But if you just want to do SEO, what I would recommend is having that landing page and then building content, right? Blogs, let's say, to talk about dialysis transportation, things like that, or pushing backlinks to that landing page to help it grow, if that's
mhm.
your main focus.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about actually building a website. So obviously this is something you can do for people, but let's talk about sort of the process if someone wants to build their own website.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Historically you would build everything with HTML, but today we have WordPress, we have all these tools. What do you recommend if someone wants to build their own NEMT website?
I'm true to WordPress. I've been industry for a very long time. I've seen the most organic growth with WordPress. WordPress has a lot of templates and themes you can use these days to kind of help you build that out.
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, I would say use WordPress. It's really it's not hard, but it is a little bit harder to build it yourself, especially if this is not your industry,
Hmm.
right? You can hire people, you can hire like outsource somebody to build your website, but yeah, I would focus on WordPress.
That makes sense. And then let's talk about domain hosting, like whether it's GoDaddy or whoever, all these different providers. Is there anyone you recommend, or is there sort of a process you recommend for deciding which one to use?
Do your research, right? Because if you're gonna go with like sometimes like a cheap hosting company, it's gonna slow down the speed of your website. So just do research. There's so many options out there. WordPress, they have their own hosting company.
Oh, do they?
So
Okay.
yeah, we have our own private servers, so we host all of our clients, and we make sure like they're safe on our hosting platform. The speed is good, the quality, everything like that. There's Bluehost. There's a lot of different engines out there you can host on. Just do the research.
Okay. God, that's good to know. Um, Sometimes I hear just eyeballing it. What is a reasonable versus an unreasonable price for a website? Like I would be skeptical if someone was building me a website for $100. But at the same time, I've heard stories of people paying $10,000 for a website. It seems kind of excessive for at least this industry. So I'm curious what kind of range you
No,
think
James,
about.
it's not a one size fits all kind of
Mhm.
deal. It depends on the project. It depends on like the scope of it, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, are you building like a portal, customer portal? What
Mhm.
kind of integrations? How many pages? How many pages? And then ultimately, it's the experience of the developer, right? If you're paying $100, you're gonna get $100 worth of
Yeah.
website, right? Let's be real. You do have to invest that upfront cost in the website. I can't stress that enough because that is going to be your foundation, right? That's what's going to convert your traffic. If you're spending $100 and you're pushing traffic to that website, right, you might
Yeah.
not see an ROI that you expected. But I would say for an NEMT business, you're not looking for too much. Really, you just need not a basic website, but something that's like modernized, right? But also like integrated with your brand and like your company's personality, I would say.
Mhm.
I would probably say as low as $2,000 for super basic, but no more than like $6,000. Again, it's going to depend on the scope and what you want done to the website.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose that pays for itself pretty quick. Like if you're converting, 20 trips at $100 each, obviously there's like, the profit versus revenue side, but it seems pretty achievable if your revenue is growing like crazy from all these private pay trips
Oh my
to the
gosh.
cost
Yeah.
of
And
trips.
what I love about NEMT business is like, yeah, so we'll run these highly targeted Google ads, especially
Hmm.
those companies that really want to see that growth quickly, like Paul, right? Because
Hmm.
Paul didn't really have much rise, and you can see he scaled crazy.
Right.
And we have another customer right now that's also growing really, really fast through Google ads. But ultimately, yeah, like I would say that's gonna be like the focus.
Great. Okay. And then if I were to build it myself, how much time, assuming I'm moderately tech savvy, how much time should I budget to build something basic?
Okay, I would say maybe like, if you're kind of savvy, maybe like 20 hours.
Okay.
20 hours, I would say, to be safe. Yeah.
Got it. I mean,
A
I,
lot
I,
goes
I,
into building a website, like a
I,
lot.
I think I'm with you that like you're better off having someone who knows what they're doing do it for you. But just want to sort of if you are brand new and you're still figuring out if you even want to be an NEMT, like throw something quick together. It's better to have something than no website, right?
Right. I remember I was going to say right before we were talking about what I love about NEMT customers,
Mhm.
and we're talking about like growth, is what I'm seeing is there's a lot of repeat customers.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Like you land 20 customers and suddenly like okay,
You
three
know?
trips a week, like boom.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about SEO, and let's start with on-page SEO, which for anyone listening is sort of the stuff you do on your website to influence where you rank on the Google
Sure.
or Bing search results. Um, so what, and you've talked about this a little bit already, but what are the most important components for ranking highly on Google
Mhm.
that you can control on your own website?
So right. So there's something that's called on-page SEO, and there's something called off-page SEO. On-page SEO is going to be everything that you have on your website, on your landing page. It's going to be composed of, well, one, you want to do research on keywords, so you want to make sure that you have the right keywords in key phrases throughout your entire website. So when Google is indexing, scanning your pages, those keywords are being picked up, right? So it's relevant to what your audience is actually searching for. And then you want to make sure that your meta description, your meta titles, meta tags, everything is optimized correctly. Your images are compressed, making sure that your website is loading correctly. All that has to do with on-page SEO.
Hmm.
Clean it up as much as you can.
Got it. What are the most common mistakes you see with on-page SEO?
Well, one of them we talked about earlier is keyword stuffing. You want to make sure that, again, Google and AI and algorithm, everything is like so high tech now. You can't overstuff. Algorithm will pick that up. So you want to like organically place it within the content. And then a lot of that has to do with like experience and know how to put it throughout the website. And if you're writing code, like then you can add certain keywords and key phrases through code.
Okay. Anything else besides keyword stuffing that might hurt people's SEO ranking?
Yeah, mobile optimization. I see that a lot. If your website is not mobile optimized, if it's slow, if it looks distorted, that's going to hurt your ranking as well.
Okay.
In image sizes, things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's probably dozens or hundreds of different, minor features. How do you recommend evaluating a website? Like, are there tools you recommend that people can plug in their URL and sort of find out what's going on?
Yeah. So Google has page speed. I would just use there. They can tell you how well it's uploading on mobile and how well it's uploading on desktop. And then of course there's like for example there's SEMrush, there's Ahrefs, which I love, and they're tools to kind of help you understand not only your competition, which is just as important, but also your current website status, where it's ranking against your competitors, the speed of it again, and then like the keywords.
Got it. Is there any, like, when you think about keywords for NEMT, is there anything that stands out at you as like you really want to rank well for this particular keyword?
Yeah, well, we've already done that research, so we kind of already have that bread and butter. We know what keywords are being searched for. There is a little bit of research when it comes to like the locality, like where you are demographically, right? Before launching any campaigning to understand your target audience and location of what they're searching for. But wheelchair transportation is a big one. Medical transportation or non-medical transportation near me is a big one. That's a good keyword. Those two are pretty highly ranked. I have an entire
Oh
list.
yeah, I bet you've got 100. So is it when you think about like someone searching wheelchair transport near me? How do I, let's say I'm in San Francisco, which I am. How do I land those web searches? Am I writing content about wheelchair transports in San Francisco, or am I literally putting wheelchair transports near me in my header?
Both. Both. Your algorithm is going to pick it up in your location if you have it well set up on the website. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Like if you're in San Francisco and you're targeting, medical transportation, you're not going to get anything from me here in Chicago. You're going to get with the surrounding area and those businesses. But again, it's going to be SEO. It's what's going to get you to rank on Google and Google Ads.
Okay, great. And any other tips you have? Like SEO is a complex topic, and I have some more about off page. But just while we're on page, any other tips and tricks?
Quality. I think really try to understand your audience and kind of like what they're looking for, what they're searching for. Do the research, go in Google and see what's already out there and try to like replicate it in your own words. Put like maybe like your heart into the writing so you can really connect with your brand and your company and feel that like safety and trust. And make sure that you have those meta descriptions. They work parallel, so they might not directly affect SEO, but they do. So like your title and what's being popped up in Google matters a lot. It matters whether or not they're going to click on you. Right. So with Google, when they see that you have content on there that's going to stick out to your audience, they can relate to them, they're going to start slowly ranking you if they feel like the algorithm understands that your content is quality for SEO.
Okay, so I'll build authentically good
Please.
content on your website. What have you like? Do you recommend writing blog posts or just
Yes.
a lot of details about how you do wheelchair transports and things?
I do recommend, if your focus is SEO, I do recommend. So, for example, like we talked about dialysis transportation,
Mhm.
you have that dialysis landing page. On that landing page, you can also have a form, right? So you want, like I said, but you want to navigate the user, right? So like if somebody's typing in Google for dialysis transportation, you want to make sure they're being sent to either an article about dialysis transportation, then it's linked to that
Mhm.
specific dialysis page, or you want to send them to the dialysis page and you want to have a form or some kind of CTA ready for them to click, right? So you don't want them going anywhere else. You want to get to the point and get them to convert essentially for what they're looking for. This
Mhm.
goes back to the attention span. You
Yeah.
want to keep them on the page and you want them to either call you or fill out a form. So yes, I do recommend content blogs and things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's chat about off-page SEO.
Really quickly, if you're
Yeah,
having
please.
issues of trying to figure out, okay, like what topics can I really write about dialysis, right?
Mhm.
Use ChatGPT, use AI, and
All
ask
right.
them, what can I write about? Or go on Google and see what else people are talking about. Go on Reddit, look at the discussions, right? So
That's good.
focus on people's pain points and provide that on your website through your services.
Okay, great. Anything else about on-page?
Gosh, a lot, but I think right now it's
Okay, okay. Well,
good amount. I don't want to overload.
great. Okay, so talking about off-page. So my understanding of off-page has always been it's primarily sort of links pointing at your website, weighted by how credible the linking website is. Like CNN pointing at your website is very good, shows Google that you're a reputable company. You know, James's blog with 2 subscribers pointing at your website is going to give you less weight in Google. Is that a fair characterization? Is there other stuff that plays into off-page SEO that we
Okay.
should think about?
Sure. Yes, and you're right. So backlinks is what's going to give your website authority, and authority is what's going to start ranking you, right? So you kind of want to understand, first of all, where you're at. So every single website, right, in the online space has a ranking out of 100. The higher your domain ranking is, the more credible you are. So if you are linking to a website like CNN.com that has a probably authority of like 90 out of 100, that backlink is going to tell Google that you have authority in that space. Does that kind of make sense?
Right. So,
So
I mean, does it do anything if I link to CNN, or does CNN have to link to me?
CNN probably won't care if you link to them. It's more
Right.
about getting
Yeah.
CNN
Okay.
link on your page,
Got it.
right? Um, so yeah, backlinks is the driver. So yes, SEO is really important, and on-site SEO content that is important. It is going to matter, but those backlinks, that's going to be where that ranking factor is going to be. A lot of times. So there's free backlinks, right? And there's backlinks that cost money. For NEMTs, I would recommend to start locally, right? Local directories in your community, hospital, nursing homes, clinics. Talk to them and ask them for a referral link. But here's the trick. When you're backlinking, don't just backlink to, let's say, for example, for Paul, his website, the name is gentleturns.com. Don't backlink gentleturns.com. Ask them to backlink for like NEMT or wheelchair transportation or non-medical transportation. That anchor link, that name has to match a keyword or key phrase that your potential audience is searching for. That's what's going to start ranking you higher in Google. Does that
Oh,
make
wait, so
sense?
so are you saying that you should, when the actual link should say like, NEMT transportation, and it's a blue text, and you click it, and it takes you to
Yes.
gentleturns.com.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
when
Oh.
when those Google robots start indexing that content and pick up that link, they're going to be like, wait a minute, he's indexed for this keyword from this
Mm,
website. This is giving him authority and credibility. I'm going to rank him higher.
so you'd rather not have just like the whole URL typed out on someone's
You
website.
don't need that. You don't need that. When somebody's going into Google and typing in your name, they already know you, right?
Right. Yep.
My job is to put your name out and your brand for people that don't know who you are and are looking for your service. Those that already know you, good for them, right? But link to an anchor text, right?
Mhm.
Same with image. If you're linking your logo, ask them on the back end if they know what they're doing to link a specific text to their image.
Okay, so gentle turns logos on someone's website, and the image alt text or description text is like, wheelchair rides in, San Francisco or whatever. Okay.
That's the trick to backlink.
Oh, that's some good stuff. Okay, so that makes total sense. What other advice do you have in terms of how you get more backlinks from credible sources pointing out your website, besides
Yeah.
going to the local
Honestly,
authors?
you have to like this is where it helps working with like an agency or somebody
Mhm.
else that understands this business because a lot of it is going to be research, right? Research the publications, online journals, right? Look for like credibility and things like that. That's kind of where I would start.
Okay, got it. Um,
Also, sorry,
oh yeah.
um, sometimes not sometimes but often for you to link for like a company like CNN,
Mhm.
a lot of it is going to be a paid. You can get a paid link, so not all are organics. So build the relationship with the publication. Provide them. You can provide like an article, for example, to like CNN. Let's say CNN, right, or Forbes.com. You tell them, okay,
Yeah.
this is my space, right? I know NEMT business. Here's an article. Here's what I do. Here's how we help customers, right? Because you
Mhm.
do, right? That's what you
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
How can I get my article or my website on yours? They're gonna be like, okay, well, this is gonna cost you, let's say, $400, and it's like, wow, that's a lot. But that link is gonna bring you a lot of traffic, and it's gonna help you grow. So in the long run, it might be worth it. I've seen links that cost $15. I've seen links that cost $900. That $900 link is actually it was for one of my customers for Forbes.com.
I
It
bet
did
that was worth it.
wonders. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Wow, and how do you, like, do I just email Forbes and be like, hey, I've got this great article, can I pay you to post
Well,
it or what?
yeah, you have to do your research, right? Go on LinkedIn, kind of understand who in Forbes do you want to reach, right? They have different departments, right? So figure out who you want to contact if you find them, and a lot of it is manual work, unfortunately, when it comes to backlinks.
Hmm. So is it kind of getting out there and meeting people, and
Yep.
whether it's paid or organic? Or,
Yeah.
I know like mutual referrals can be great. Like,
Oh yeah, it's
you,
the
you
best.
meet someone else who's selling to the same people, you link to each other's sites with the appropriate sort of keyword description. Like
Yep.
if I were putting a link to SEO on the Duet website as a list of like one of our partners, I would say, okay,
Cross promote. Yeah.
digital marketing for NEMT, and I would, you'd click on that, and that would take you to,
Yeah. It's
SEO.
called SEO juice. That's kind of what the
Yes.
industry calls it, SEO juice. And
SEO
you only
juice.
have so much of it, right? So like
Right.
be smart with who you're giving it to.
Oh, really? Like, does it? So if I put 100 links in my website, each of those would get less juice.
Kinda, yes.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, yeah. So only link to things you care about.
You care about and like that are relevant.
Hmm.
Make sure it's relevant. Don't just like for example, like if one of your friends owns like a jewelry company, for example, this might not be the best example, but they're like, hey, I need some backlinks. Can you give me one? Don't give it to them. Google will pick that up.
Oh, really? If it's
Oh
like
yeah,
totally
don't
unrelated.
don't link to things that don't make sense to your company to business.
Hmm.
It will hurt you in the long run. Maybe
Oh,
not right
interesting.
away, but it will. Yeah.
Okay. Mm. And this is, I mean, the link discussion reminds me how important this is back to on-page SEO, but how important are internal links from the wheelchair article to the dialysis article? And
Oh, it's very important. It's very important because what happens when Google comes to your website, it is your job to create a site map and to
Mhm.
help them navigate to see what makes sense. If they
Mm.
come to your website and they're lost, and that's one of the things that I see too, when I come to like NEMT companies or NEMT websites that are not completely developed, if I'm on the website and I don't understand the navigation, I consider that a fail, right? So when Google comes to your website, they need to understand what page links to what page and why. And that's going to be determined by that anchor keyword and key phrase.
Mm. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, people watching, feel free to drop any SEO or website related questions in chat. But I'm gonna start talking a little bit about paid ads.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear like why. I mean, you're a big proponent of Google Ads. I'd love to hear sort of why you think that's the place to start for NEMT, and just a little bit about how it works.
It depends where you are in your business. I don't know if it's necessarily a place to start. If you have like an NEMT company that's been incredibly successful and you're getting reference and you're not really looking to scale quickly, then yeah, like start with SEO, kind of start
Okay.
seeing that slow growth. But if you're really looking for customers and you're looking for growth like Paul did or like my new customer core, um, Google Ads are amazing if you know what you're doing. So um, I love Google Ads because it works quickly, right?
Hmm.
So once you do the research on your keywords and key phrases that your audience is searching for in that local area, once you do the competitive analysis, because that's important too, because you need to understand who's out there competing for the same keywords. And once you know the keywords people are searching for, you just blast that out. Those leads are going to start coming in.
Mm.
You see ROI, you see return on investment a lot quicker with Google Ads than you will see with SEO when it's done correctly, right? If you're, again, kind of like the website, if you're spending $100 and expecting, to see gold from that, you're not going to, right? You need to optimize your campaign. You need to understand who your audience is and what messaging you're putting out there. Because I'll tell you right now, people are searching for your services, right?
Mhm.
And your competitors are out there grabbing those customers, right?
Yeah. For NEMT, do you recommend running ads against? I mean, obviously, running like wheelchair transport San Francisco is something a good keyword probably. But do
When
you?
when it
Oh,
comes
go
to
ahead.
ads, you don't have to run or I'm sorry, wheelchair in San Francisco. You can just run wheelchair transportation and then just target that San
Mm,
Francisco
I
area.
see.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I mean, I know some providers who are, in an area with a very established competitor. Does it ever make sense to run an ad against a competitor's like, name? Say like, if I'm, you know, Bob's NEMT is very popular in the area. Could I run an ad for my NEMT service against Bob's NEMT?
Yes, sir. You might not get so the quality of the campaign might not be as high as like a regular campaign because
Mhm.
Bob is most likely gonna get those clicks because people
Right.
want Bob,
Right.
right? But once in a while they might click on you too.
Okay. But you recommend sort of primarily focusing on the sort of trip, like wheelchair trips, stretcher
Yes.
trips, and
Um,
those.
One thing,
Yeah.
sorry, I want to jump back for a second because I forgot to
Mhm.
add for website. Something else for an EMT that I would recommend adding is service areas you cover.
Mm. I so many times I see a website and they don't have the service area. I'm like, where the
Put
heck
the
are you?
service areas on there. Put the service areas on there. Another thing that I would recommend is an FAQ.
Mm.
Add an FAQ section if you can. Answer those questions for people.
Yeah,
Ed-
probably
Educate them.
save some
God,
time spent on
so
the
much
phone.
time, right? Yeah, because end of the day, you also want quality leads, and you don't
Right.
want
Yeah.
to waste your time. People who are like, looking for free rides. I've seen that before. I'm sorry, but here's the FAQs, right? So
Yep.
check those out.
Yep. So Trish, I had another question.
Yeah.
What's a good daily or monthly ad spend range on Google to get started?
That's a really good question. So I always recommend starting on a smaller budget and then
Mhm.
scaling up. The reason why is we need to again understand if you're launching a first ad, right? We need to understand how your audience is going to react, especially if it's like a new location, right?
Mhm.
And so I would start probably between I would say $300 to $500 and then scale up. It's normal. You're gonna want to put more money into it because you're gonna see an
Right.
ROI. That's kind of what we did with Paul. I think with Paul we started at 300, and I think right now his Google Ads spend is probably 1,500, but he's
Wow, per month.
per month. Yeah. Oh God, he is seeing return on that because
Wow.
the case study you see right now that's from a couple of months ago.
Mhm.
He's at a different level right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in his fifth car, I think. I mean, he's scaled up. And a
Yeah.
lot of it is Google Ads. We're not even really doing SEO for Paul.
Mhm.
Organically, so he's growing organically without content just because of how we optimize the website.
Mhm.
So once in a while, he'll see that organic growth, but a lot of his business is coming from Google Ads.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you could be spending $1,500 a month and still getting like great. What sort of ROI does that get once you're at that point where you've got everything dialed in?
Well, I think it's gonna. I mean, the ROI is going to depend on the cost of the services. So I think
Okay, fair.
every business is going to be different. You know, Paul is great to work with. And, he's got like that drive, that love, that mission, and
Mhm.
that kind of
Oh yeah.
really wanted me to, dive in with him and help him grow.
Yeah, we actually did a podcast with Paul for anyone
I
listening.
saw
Check
it.
it out. He's
You
great.
sent it to me right away. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we love Paul. Um, anyway, okay, so let's talk to Google profiles. Like often the first thing I see when I search some NEMT service's name is, oh, their Google profile. Do you think that's really important to sort of set up when you're starting out? And do you have any tips for, building a good one?
1,000% yes. 1,000% yes. Your GMB, your Google profile, your business profile on Google is where you're going to get that credibility and that
Mhm.
trust factor from Google reviews. That's my number one focus besides the website. The foundation is build your Google reviews. So what I did with Paul is we set up a link on his business cards and everywhere that we possibly could to send them back to Google reviews. After your ride is complete, send him an email or send him like a text message from whatever campaign, whatever you're
Yeah.
comfortable with. That follow up to leave reviews, especially if you know it was a good ride and you're gonna get a good review.
Mhm.
That's what's gonna build trust and credibility. 1,000%, yeah. Make sure the GMB page is highly optimized, that it looks good, it looks right, things like that. If you don't have one, we'll definitely help you set that up.
Mhm.
I would
Okay,
not
so
advise not having one.
oh yeah, definitely. So it sounds like for generating more reviews, you just whenever you have a good ride, you sort of nudge them, hey, fill out a review. If someone does have a bad experience and leaves you a negative review, is there anything you can do or that you recommend to mitigate it?
You have to reply back. You cannot remove it. If
Mm,
if it makes sense, right? If the review is essentially about not related to the actual drive,
mm,
you can sometimes typically fight Google to remove it, but it's really really difficult. I would recommend getting ahead of it right away. And then ultimately you could, if you solve that problem, right, and you fix it, figure out how to fix it, that user could remove it.
mm. Okay, so you could leave a nice reply, even contact them and say
Like,
like,
please
hey, I'm
contact
so
me, or like if
sorry.
you have their information, reach out to them, contact
Mm,
them, see if you can help solve that. But yeah, make sure you get ahead of it. Don't leave it not answered.
mhm. Okay. Yeah, and like even the best services, sometimes someone's having a bad day and like, they're
It
frustrated with their
happens, right?
ride.
And everybody has an opinion, everybody wants to be heard, and that's why they write about it on Google,
Right, yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay, so let's chat about going beyond Google a little bit into other social media. Do you, for an NEMT service providers, do you think it's worth it to be on, you know, uh, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, Facebook?
Look, if you have the time to be on social media, yeah, right. So if you have an account on, Facebook, and Facebook and Instagram are integrated, so it's
Right.
really easy to, first of all, it's really easy to schedule your post ahead of time, right? And you kind of can schedule on both at the same time. When you're posting on social media, it almost looks like your brand is alive, like your company is breathing, right?
Mhm.
Um, do I think it's essential? Yes and no, right? I'm for it. But your number one place to really get those new customers is going to be like Google, people who are searching for your services. But I do love having a presence on social media because recommendations, when somebody is looking for your services, unlike private groups, for example, you want them to be able to add and connect your company to there. So, yes, I do think you should have a presence, right?
Mhm.
If you have time again, or you can hire, I mean, that's not that expensive to outsource somebody to just kind of run a couple different posts just so you kind of look alive, post pictures. If you're like in meetings, so if you're at conferences and trade shows, I recommend putting that out there. People love seeing that.
Oh yeah, NEMTAC is coming up. We're gonna be out there. Paul's gonna be on our panel out there at
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited for
Dallas,
that.
Texas in 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's so great. Yeah.
So I highly recommend that for any
Oh,
NEMT viewers. It's a great conference.
so yeah, I recommend creating like an about video of who you are, right?
Mm.
Videos convert really well. They convert better than images. And so if you can, especially short clips, again, attention span, that's why you see like videos
Yeah.
like 15 seconds long. Put something out there, put it in your social media. Put a
What
little
sort
bit
of
of money behind it too, if you can, to boost it.
what sort of like length of clip do you think is ideal?
15 to 30 seconds.
Oh, that's pretty short. Okay.
Yeah, for social media,
Hmm.
yes, 15 to 30 seconds. For your website, it could be a little bit longer, right? Especially somebody who's serious about using you, using your services, they'll take the time in to watch that video. Don't overdo it, of course, but no more than a minute. But yeah, they want to know who you are, who, for example, like if you're giving rides to a lot of seniors, right, and like their kids want to be able to trust your company with their parents, they're going to take the time to watch that video.
Okay, so 15 to 30-second clips on Facebook or whatever,
Yep.
Instagram, and then like 30 seconds to a minute,
Yeah.
sort of explaining what's the highest value thing to make a video about on an NEMT website? Is it just like you what you do? Is it how you started the company? Is it your connection to the community? Like,
I would say connection. That's a really good one. Just talk about your company and the services, like your mission behind it.
okay,
If you have a customer or somebody that's willing to help you be in the video, just to kind of show that experience, like your level of customer service in that video, a way for you to portray that so you can connect with that user that's watching the video. That's what I would recommend, right? It's like that emotional connections. That's what people feed off of.
like someone helping someone into the vehicle, or someone literally 10 seconds. Hey, I had a great ride with James the other day.
Both, but I think also maybe like that video of them being put
Okay,
set up into the vehicle, something like that.
that makes
I'm
sense.
I'm all for it. The testimonial you just said, I had a great ride with James, does work really well too, of course.
Okay.
But that I would use not on website. That I would use on social media.
Okay, I see.
On
So
website, I would
those
just make it simple and connect. Again, if you go to Gentle Turns, you'll see we waited for him to get enough testimonial reviews, and then we integrated and created an entire testimonial page.
uh-huh. That makes sense. How many reviews is enough to make a testimonial page?
I would say probably like 15 to 20.
Okay, that's pretty decent number.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
I mean, we can put like we can still add like for example like on the homepage we can still add maybe like 3 or 4 reviews, but for an independent landing page,
I
we
see.
need more. Yeah,
Oh, interesting. As an independent page. Okay, yeah.
that's what we
I
created
can
for
see
him.
that being. What kind of keywords do you use for a testimonial page?
Mm, I mean, for testimonial page, we don't really need keywords. It's like a benefit on the. We're not trying to push people to that page when somebody's
Oh,
searching
okay.
for a service. That's just an additional advantage of like, hey, here's our reviews. Here's the experience of our customers. Our
So
goal isn't really to push to that page.
do you do it like 3 or 4 reviews on the main page and then a link to see more reviews?
Well, yes, but also we added to the navigation
Okay, I see. Testimonials.
and footer. Yeah.
Oh, this is such good stuff. I mean, I've seen so many NEMT pages that are like one page with a few minor details and no
Yeah.
service area. So,
I'm hoping I can help. I do love this space, and I love working with NEMT companies and just like in general the mission behind it and the vision, helping customers.
oh yeah, that's why I got into it on the software
Yeah.
side as well.
Hmm.
So I think last general topic question here, and guys, please feel free to ask questions if you've, maybe some topic you want to hear about that we haven't covered. But you mentioned using email follow-ups when we were chatting earlier. Could you tell us a little bit more about how, emailing leads or
Oh my gosh,
testimonials play into your
yes.
strategy?
I do love email. It's the least expensive, I think, platform with the highest ROI. So I prefer sending email communications as a nurture for leads that you already have. So keep in mind when we're creating these campaigns and we're converting on the website, we're collecting information, right? So it's ours. and it's legal, right? Because there's laws out there for like cold emails and spam. This is not considered spam because you have this quality leads, especially those if you have a CRM, right, where you keep everything in those emails and those phone numbers. Whether it's monthly or it's quarterly, you could just send a quick email, anything, even if it's a holiday, just literally anything, just to kind of be in front of them, right? There's email communications, which I love, and then there's other ones like there's AdWorks campaign, if you guys ever heard of that, but not AdWords, because AdWords is expensive. AdWords is Google. There's something that's called AdWorks. With AdWorks, it works very similarly to Google. You can do a retargeting campaign, right? So the more times you're digitally touching somebody, the more likely they're going to engage with your brand, your service, or your product, right? So if you're communicating with them on email and following them around on online, that's what AdWorks does. So let's say like we ran campaign for Paul and we've collected 500 leads, right? We've had 500 good quality people that we can retarget
These
to,
are
right?
people who clicked the link to go to Paul's page, but maybe
These are
didn't book a trip.
Nope, these are people that actually signed up. Whether
Oh,
they
okay.
booked or not, that's going to be on his end. And that's the one thing that I told Paul from the beginning. I said, Paul, I'm like, I will work with you and I will help you grow and I will help you get traffic. I'm like, cannot help you convert. So as long as you can convert and you're a good salesperson, you have somebody else converting, this will work out. And he was like, I got it. Let's do it. Right? But the way that AdWorks works is, so let's say like I have 500 emails that I put in here with an AdWorks campaign, which is also pretty cheap. You can get anywhere from like $150 to $200 a month. It follows these users, these emails around on websites, like Yahoo, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, right? So you're kind of staying in front of that customer. So and referral, if you have a referral program, right, like here, 10% off if you refer this to somebody, I would send that as a communication message. A lot of it is like create a strategy of what you want to do, right? Don't just wake up one morning and send an email out. Be intentful with it. What are your intentions behind this email communication? What are you trying to get out of it?
Got it. Makes sense. Yeah, I love that. So this has been incredibly helpful, Lana. So many sort of like immediately actionable things that people can take away and implement. I'd love to hear just a little bit sort of, you touched on sort of what you do, but I'd love to hear sort of the advantages of working with someone like you. And then I can post again the links for how people can get in touch with you.
Advantages of working. Oh, with me.
Yeah, like
So
what's the advantage of working with you instead of trying to set up my own WordPress site?
Oh my gosh, I have a really, really good understanding of this industry, of this business. And I understand the fundamentals that's needed to help NEMT business owners grow. It's very straightforward, right? It's not copy and paste, right? Everything is going to be designed to your brand, to your mission, and to your goals, but it is replicable, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So my agency, I'm very particular. So I don't outsource out of the state, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not, I don't recommend it just for me personally. I like working with everybody here because of timing. If I ever need anything, people are available. I work with only experience, at least I want to say I have about 5 to 10 years minimum experience of developers. I have Google Ads specialists. I have SEO specialists. So I have a team. So you'll be taken care of when it comes to that. And we've already launched these campaigns. We know what keywords people are searching for. We kind of have that bread and butter already checked
Great.
on EMT
Yeah, that
companies.
sounds nice.
Um,
And you had mentioned, what sort of, if people, saw this webinar and want to get in touch with you, what kind of like promotions do you have?
I wrote it down because I have a couple. All right, so yeah, so if you guys want to work with me, so we'll do free logo design. If you don't currently have a logo, your logo is outdated, we could do a free logo update for you. Free marketing flyer, right? So just make sure that everything is cohesive. Like I love that, right? So for example, like if Nike's or Starbucks, you like recognize that brand, those color schemes everywhere. You need to have that for your business as well. One of the other things that we'll do for you is we'll create, if you don't have one, a business card design and also a digital business cards. Those are really cool. We'll do that for you for free, and we'll set up your Google My Business page to make sure it's optimized correctly. And of course, we'll do like a free evaluation of competitors and where you're at in terms of like SEO and overall presence in the NEMT space in your specific area.
Awesome. That's really generous of you. And on our front, if you're an NEMT provider watching this and you want, dispatching software like Duet, we do booking, scheduling, dispatching, and billing, as well as having some remote dispatchers if you want someone to kind of run the operations for you. We are doing like a 2 free month promotions. So just mention this webinar, and you can reach out to me at I'll put duetinc.com or james@duetinc.com, my email here. So just, shoot me a message and be happy to talk.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Paul raves about you guys. I have 2 customers that I work with that use your service and they love it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So always nice to hear. All right, well, Lana, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure, and I'll upload this video to YouTube, and we can go from there.
Thank you, James. This was great.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for attending.
Thank
Have
you
a good
so
rest of your day.